Laura for La Mesa. Laura Lothian is in the studio, and we're going to chat with her about her campaign for La Mesa City Council.
But first, sometimes buying or selling your home can be very overwhelming. That's why we are excited that we have Scott Vinson and Caldwell Banker Royalty Realty as a sponsor. Scott is a tremendously experienced real estate broker with a passion for customer service. Scott is also a San Diego County Gun Owner board member and has supported our efforts to defend and restore our Second Amendment from the start. So if you're moving, let fellow Second Amendment supporter and real estate broker Scott Vincent help you sell your home and find you a new home someplace else in the U.S. Call him today at 619-948-2459. Tell him you heard it right here on Gun Owners Radio. That's Scott at 619-948-2459 and online at scottvinson.com. That's Vinson. Well, Michael, how you doing, bud?
Good, man. How are you?
Living the dream. Just had puppies.
What is that? What kind of puppies do you have?
4 dachshunds that look like 4 Rotties. They're only supposed to be weighing a couple ounces, and they're weighing like a pound a piece.
Do they literally look like Rotties, though, or are they just big?
Oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, I never thought.
Yeah, I think you just busted one of the dogs with its paw in the cookie jar.
I wonder if she ever. I don't even know.
Because he has
Rotties and dachshunds.
Oh, no.
So if you just had some dachshunds that look like Rotties, you and I may have to have a talk on the birds and the bees here, Dave.
I
how
wonder.
that works, because I got bad news for you.
Well, the bad thing is I take care of them during the day. So if I let
It was on your watch.
Oh, my God. Well, I'm going to blame it on another friend. Anyway, what do we got for our kids?
What is that? Before we go into that, what is that green jalopy?
Is that something?
What is that?
That is a Hyundai Santa Cruz.
A Hyundai Santa Cruz. It looks like an old El Camino.
Yeah, it does.
Or
But
like
I tell you,
modern...
but it's a unibody truck for the guys that don't really want a full-size half-ton Ford.
Yeah. You like it?
I love it.
You've been driving it around all
Yeah,
week?
I've had it a week. It's just I've been getting 25 miles per gallon.
It was eye-catching.
Yeah,
Really?
you ought to see it when you turn the headlights on. The whole dash lights up in a big V, the daytime running, and then your headlights are down there. Yeah.
It was interesting.
I was going to show it to you, but you like your Jeep.
So I do like my Jeep.
And you want a Bronco.
I drove my Jeep today, actually.
And you want a Bronco.
I want
a Bronco. That's
so
all
I'll tell you, this is a gun show. We got to talk about cars for a second. So I just presented Laura, my wife, not Laura, the candidate, who's here with us. We're going to introduce in just a second. I said, look, if we had $10 million bucks,
yeah,
and you still got to drive around from place to place,
yeah,
what would your daily driver be?
And
sure, maybe you'd get a Lamborghini or whatever.
Yeah.
What would your daily driver be? Dave?
What would my daily driver be? Believe it or not.
Yeah. Money's not an object.
Money's not an object. 1966 Mini Cooper S. Right-hand
awesome.
drive.
Laura, what do you think?
Oh, wow. If we're going to go vintage, the old...
No, you go anything you want.
No. I think I'm with you because I'm in the market for a car right now, and I can't figure out what I want to get. And I think I love the idea of the old Mercedes convertibles. Like the 280... What was that?
The 260, the 280,
yeah.
the 300.
Yeah.
Right.
And plus something that doesn't have a computer on it.
I'm going to have to go with a Ferrari GTC.
Look at this guy.
I mean, if we're spending money, we're going to be spending money.
But you know what?
I
You
mean?
reminded me of a Nissan GTR.
No, I hate Nissan GTRs. The Godzilla. Yeah, no.
Isn't that the truth?
I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to be smiling at the end of the road,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So my Laura said she wanted a Lexus sedan. I forget which model, but like a 4-door Lexus. Something comfortable with with a couple of horses. And I said the new Ford Bronco.
Absolutely.
The new Ford Bronco, the 2-door
I know.
Ford Bronco that you introduced me to.
Yeah.
I said that's
the
Have you been
cats.
seeing one on the road lately?
I had one.
Oh, you have one?
Well, I had it. I said I get a new car to drive every week, like that lime green Hyundai out there.
Yeah, I saw that one.
That's till Thursday, and then I get another car, and then I get another car, and then you'll love it. I just had the McLaren GT.
No way.
Yeah, for a week.
How'd you like it? Awesome.
Had the 720S about 3 weeks ago.
Did you play with the little screen thing that goes up and down?
Of course I did.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
I love that car.
So for
Anyway,
those listening,
I love cars. So.
Christian, introduce yourself.
I'm actually the designer at Core Essentials, the ratcheting gun belt, and their media guy. And I also own Fenrir USA. We make plate carriers and other U.S.-made goods.
And we're going to introduce Christian here. He's going to give him a couple of segments. He's brought in some really cool stuff. We've already talked a lot about Core Essentials and how much I love their belts. So
I've got mine.
And then next to me is the lovely Laura Lothian. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fantastic. And what brings you to the studio?
Okay, well, thank you for inviting me. And I am running for the Mesa City Council. It's an open seat, so there's no incumbent.
Yes.
And it's a special election, so we're like the only election happening in the county. And the voting starts first week of October, and the final day is November 2nd. And I am here to just talk to your audience.
And any special endorsements that you'd like to talk about?
Yes, I have the endorsement of the Republican Party of San Diego County.
No, special.
Special.
Okay.
I was doing it ascending order.
Oh, all right, good. You're saving the best for last.
Okay, all right. I'll go right to the best. I guess I am. It's the San Diego County Gun Owners.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I've heard of that group.
We can keep her here for a while.
Yeah, we're actually very honored to.
And I'm very proud of that
endorse it.
endorsement.
Yeah, tell us why.
I'm proud of it because I'm proud of it because I think that there's a reason why it's the Second Amendment. And even though I myself am not an active gun shooter, gun owner, I am surrounded by people that are. They love their guns. They're extremely responsible. And to strip away somebody's ability to protect themselves or their family is shocking to me.
And you've been going to our Simon, your guy has been taking you to our events. You went to Gun Prom a few years ago.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And he takes you shooting a lot.
Yes, right? Yes. Simon is my significant other of the last 20 years, and he is a fantastic shot. Yep. One of our first dates was him clay shooting, and I was like, whoa, I liked it. And then I went to your Gun Prom, and again, one of the things I noticed was everybody was really happy and engaging and good looking. I mean, it was just it was
all dressed in their cowboy hats.
It was a cool crowd. Yeah,
we are a very handsome.
Group. Yeah. The men were handsome and the women were beautiful. So yeah.
Well, they're like-minded. Awesome. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But they're just like-minded people, and when you surround yourself with like-minded people, it can be a really enjoyable afternoon.
Oh, the energy. Yeah, it really is. It's
well,
good.
and La Mesa is a city council that we really have to. I mean, this is an extremely important race, folks, and it's a special election. It's happening November 2nd, and we really need to get Laura elected. We need everyone's help, whether you live in La Mesa or not. You can help Laura get elected. And the cool thing is, there's no other race to concentrate on right now. So a lot of times when we endorse people, we come up with a list of a few dozen people. But right now, all eyes are on your race, and we need people to donate. We need people to walk neighborhoods. We need people to do phone calls. There's all kinds of activities. The La Mesa City Council, the makeup, I would say that how would I put this? The makeup of the La Mesa City Council, I don't think reflects or properly reflects the people in La Mesa.
Well, it certainly has changed.
And specifically when I say that, I'm talking about especially when it comes to Second Amendment issues. I think that the population of La Mesa is a very pro-Second Amendment crowd. I'm not quite sure right now the city council is there, but we can get there with you and some other folks.
Well, they were sure pro-Second Amendment after last year's riots. We had.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, we had the riot on a Saturday. Sunday morning, the whole town came out and cleaned up. There must have been thousands of people who were cleaning up broken glass, charred building materials, cleaning horrible graffiti. But then we kept getting threats of those same groups coming back for weeks. And what I noticed, very obviously, was a lot of people packing. I mean, it was surprising. I've never seen a gun packing heat.
Not
packing their bags and leaving, although maybe some did. But what I saw for the first time in my life were people. There was a lot of guns out.
Yeah.
People were
scared.
scared.
And they almost looked at you and said, "Go ahead and say something."
Yeah, no, they were protecting their businesses and themselves.
Exactly. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
All right, we got to take. So what's cooking in San Francisco?
Well, so we're going to talk to Laura Lothian a little bit about the show and talk to her about her campaign next.
Sweet. So that has nothing to do with San Francisco.
No. Well, we might talk about San Francisco.
Okay. Hey, did you know John Dillon is the attorney of the Miller versus Bontis case and the Jones versus Bontis case? In other words, he's working to remove the assault weapon ban and working to restore your Second Amendment rights for 18 to 21-year-olds. And if you have legal matters that involve firearms, then you really need to know John Dillon. If you have a question about red flag laws, gun registration, gun transportation, or maybe you just need to know that your guns are California compliant, call our trusted firearms attorney, John Dillon. John Dillon specializes in California gun laws. Call 760-642-7150, or you can visit his website at dillonlawgp.com.
So what do you think of the show, Laura?
Well, I very, very fascinating. And I'll tell you this, the last gentleman that was on, the writer for Substack, he ended his segment by talking about Republican leadership.
Yeah.
And you guys kind of made a joke. There are any? Well, it's kind of funny because I have been making phone calls to very, very involved donors throughout San Diego County for the last month. And the number one overriding emotion I have received from these guys is frustration.
Yeah.
With they're more angry at Republicans laying down and getting steamrolled than they are at the guys doing the steamrolling.
Not as much as he is.
Yeah.
It's everyone. And I told you I was talking
really
with very successful, powerful people in the county, and it would be a 20-minute diatribe of where are they?
Yeah.
And that's how I feel. I used to use the example that if I saw someone beat up my mom and my dad watched the guy beating up my mom, I'd be angrier at my dad than I would be at the guy beating up my mom.
Right, because he didn't help.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good analogy
Yeah.
right now. It's a really good analogy. So, and especially with COVID, for decades, for my entire adult life, Republicans told me that Democrats were going to take away my rights, but they were going to stop them, and Democrats told me that, that they weren't going to take away my rights, and my freedom and my liberty. And then COVID came, and Democrats did come and take away my liberty and my freedom and a lot of people's, and Republicans didn't do anything.
Nothing.
They did nothing.
Well, that's one of the things that got me upset in La Mesa. I am surrounded by businesses because my office is in downtown La Mesa, the Village, and there's a gal who owns a restaurant, and she showed me her checking account on January of 2021, and it had $1,100 in it. Her overhead is $30,000 a month. She tried to turn her restaurant into a market that sells bananas and milk, something to stay alive. And I couldn't stand to see that because I saw her spend 2 years opening this place up. And so then I came up with the idea that we have a place called Avenue of the Stars. And I said, you know what, I'll pay for it. I'll put plastic tables out there. I'll put a cleaning station for people's hands. I'll clean the trash every day. That people could go pick up to-go food, and they'd have these plastic tables outside where they could eat. I saw them do that in Coronado, Mission Valley, Oceanside, Carlsbad, Little Italy, and I wanted to do the same thing. And the city of La Mesa said, nope, they're following CDC rules or whatever, no public tables in public spaces. And then I'm like, well, what about the public tables in our public parks that are filled with homeless people cooking? It's like, why were the public tables in the public parks allowed to stay, but the people who literally wanted to save their businesses couldn't have it? And then it dawned on me that, and I love La Mesa, and I know all the guys on city council, but what they did is they rubber stamped everything that came out of Sacramento. So you'd go to a park and we had yellow caution tape like it was a murder scene. And they had garbage cans blocking entrances. And they were blocking, and anybody could tell being outside in the sun, a 4-year-old can't go on a merry-go-round or a seesaw. And I just said, someone has got to stand up and support these businesses. You can't have businesses going under.
Well, Dave's heard me tell this joke before. There's this old joke that I heard, I don't know how many years ago, that Republicans and Democrats, if Democrats presented a proposal to burn down the White House, Republicans would insist that they phase it in over 3 years.
Yeah.
That's it.
That is so sad.
So,
yeah.
So you're running. True. So you're running for La Mesa City Council, and it sounds like, was that the I mean, you'd run before.
Yeah, well, what's so funny? I have a famous candle story. And what happened is I have an office on the boulevard, and you can see me through the window. And so a few years ago, a fireman walked into my office, and I'm like, hi. And he goes, hi, you're going to have to put that candle out. And it's a little Anthropology vanilla lavender candle. And I'm like, what? And he goes, you got to put it out. And I'm like, why? He goes, because you don't have a permit for it. And I go, I need a permit for the candle. He goes, yeah. And I go, well, all right, I'll go downtown and get a permit. He goes, nope, we only issue them to places of worship and restaurants. Put it out. And I did. Today I would not. But then I'm like, okay. And so I blew it out.
This is a fireman?
This is a fireman, yeah. And he walked in maybe to blow out my candle. And then we used to have Christmas in the Village, and we'd roast chestnuts on an open fire. Well, they stopped that because the chestnut roasters didn't have a food handling license. So I play pickleball, and there's a huge sign on the court that says, must-have permit to give pickleball lessons. And it's just like, so that used to be annoying.
So these regulations are getting
They get me, because it's like you need a permit to move an outlet. You need a permit to install a chandelier. I'm a real estate agent. I've seen clients with unfinished decks because they spent more money on the paperwork than they did on the lumber, and they ran out.
Okay, I have to do this. Michael yell at me, but I have to tell you my regulation story.
Okay, I want to hear it.
I live in Alpine. I own 16 cars, okay? I want to put in a shop, 60 by 100. I'm ready to do it. So I called up U.S. Steel. I said, hey, you sell sheds in California? Garage? Absolutely, no problem. I said, you permitted? He said, yep, we paid all our permits. We're good to go. I said, okay, fine. He said, but if you're going to buy one, you have to go down to the county and buy a permit. I go, why do I got to buy a permit to have a building put up that you've already paid to have the permit? He says, talk to your government. So I went down, $2,800. $2,800
Yeah.
For what? For absolutely what? So I am on your side, and I'll move to La Mesa and I'll vote for you.
Yeah. Well, I have a client who was building a garage and had nothing but a window and a garage door. And it took her 9 trips, and she'd go down with her plans, and the planner would find a mistake on page 2. She goes, okay, I'll correct that. And then she'd turn the page and goes, nope, go correct it and come back. That's not servicing the taxpayer. That is you lording over your authority. It took her 9 trips to get final approval.
So what you're describing, these permits and potholes, this is real city business.
Yeah.
And it feels more and more like La Mesa's city council is getting involved in, national subjects rather than concentrating on, making sure that if they're going to have a permit, that they can actually get the permit. It's affordable and available. If in case you want to have, go through have the dangerous activity of having a candle in your office.
Right.
But it seems like, I don't know. Am I wrong? It seems like La Mesa is going way too far to the national scenes that, and totally straying away from what matters in people's lives about a city council.
It doesn't feel like a La Mesa election.
Well, are they financially strapped? Are they trying to raise money?
No. La Mesa's doing great.
So if they're not financially strapped, dumb as I am, that just sounds like control and harassment.
Well, that's how I feel. I just think that people have gotten into the governments have gotten into the habit
They're too big.
Yeah, they're too big. And it would be nice if you almost had, almost like a triage government, like government only comes in when it has to. But instead, it's just controlling everything. And it is interesting that you mentioned potholes, because I have a client who, before we put his house on the market, he and his neighbor were filling the potholes on his street. And I just had to laugh. I mean, these are $1 million houses, and they're getting the materials, digging the hole.
And
they're
if La
filling.
Mesa seen that, they'd make him dig out all the asphalt, come down, get a permit, and then fill it back up.
Yeah, I don't know.
And people ask us a lot what our agenda is. San Diego County Gun Owners, Gun Owners Radio, all the different organizations. What's our agenda? We don't really have an agenda. Our agenda is to respond to other people's agendas. For years, for decades, for the entire history of our country, city councils, local government, they've done what they're supposed to do, which is fill potholes. That was the original reason for a city council. Is, hey, you know what? The road's kind of rough. We got to get people in and out of here. All right, let's get together and make some decisions.
Wasn't it also making sure the parks were well kept and people had places to go and recreate?
But the very basics of it was making sure that people could get in and out of your city. That's the origins of a city council. That's really their purpose. And then, of course, it's expanded beyond that. And now their agenda seems to be, hey, you know what? We as a city council want to make sure that we, that we signal and let everybody know what we feel about every national thing that comes along, including your gun rights. And so that's, we San Diego County Gun Owners and Orange County Gun Owners and, Riverside, San Bernardino, all these organizations are saying, hey, look, we want you to be a city council member, and we want you to stand with us on Second Amendment rights. But really, we understand your job is to fill potholes, make sure that people have garbage and water and, all the other things that a city council is supposed to do. And then if you move up in office, we want to make sure that you stand with us on Second Amendment rights now, because when you move up in office, and whether that's Sacramento or Washington, D.C., when you actually start making decisions on state and national issues like your Second Amendment, we want to make sure that you're with us. We want to make sure that you're who we need you to be when it comes to defending our Second Amendment rights. And the other candidates that you're running against, nowhere near that description. I mean, they're extreme, even for extreme. And when it comes to city government, we need, people that are going, hey, you know what? I just wanted a candle in my office. We just wanted to be able to keep some businesses open so people could eat and put their kids through college.
Well, you've got the parklets right now. So luckily, the government's allowed those temporary sidewalk parklets, street public spaces, and they've been a runaway success. I think they've really helped save hundreds of businesses. Sure. But San Diego is now getting ready to start taxing and regulating them. Anything San Diego does, La Mesa is going to follow suit. And I'm thinking the last thing these people need is regulations on their parklets, getting taxed on their parklets.
And why does La Mesa have to do that?
I don't know. So far, they just kind of follow suit.
Does Santee do that?
I don't know.
Santee didn't have a riot last year.
Yeah, well, we almost did.
Yeah, I know. And Santee's like, not happening here.
We almost did.
Yeah.
2 days after they burned down La Mesa.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. All right, well, we're going to take... You know what? It's been a blast having you around. How do people follow you and help you out?
Okay, my website's lauraforlamesa.com, LauraForlamesa.com.
Okay.
And
the other thing you need to do is sign up for our email, become a member, because we're endorsing her and we need help getting her elected.
All right, that sounds fantastic.
Thank you, guys.
Good having you. Hope you had a lot of fun.
Well, she's going to stay with us, and she's going to she's going to
ask the question.
She's going to ask the question.
Wait till you see what you're stuck with.
Okay.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe, so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.